The dominant species, humans, simply vanish. The lights go out, the engines stop, and the silence falls over the great metropolis. But nature hits a vacuum. For millions of years, we have sat at the top of the For millions of years, we have sat at the top of food chain, not because of our strength, but because of our minds. But we are not the only intelligent being on the planet. Deep in the oceans, high in the canopies, and even in our own backyard, other minds are watching, learning, and evolving. Without the shadow of humanity, weak creators would rise to claim the throne. Weak creators would rise to claim the throne. Today, we are counting down 10 animals with the we are counting down 10 animals with the intelligence, social structure, and adaptability to potentially rule the world. Welcome to the dawn of a new era. Welcome to the dawn of a new era. This is Life After Pupil, the battle for the planet. We begin our countdown with a creature that most of us only associate with the mud of farmyard. But if you look past the snout and the heavy frame, you will find an intellect that rivals a 3-year-old human child. Meet the domestic pig, nature's most underestimated strategist. Pigs are among the most intelligent animals on the planet, possessing a level of cognitive complexity that often leaves scientists in awe. They are one of the few species capable of passing the mirror test, demonstrating a clear sense of self-awareness. But where they truly excel is in the realm of social and emotional intelligence. Pigs don't just live in groups, they form deep, lasting bonds, recognizing individuals and remembering past interaction for years. In the world of animal intelligence, one of the highest markers of genius is theory of mind. The ability to understand that another individual has their own thoughts and perspectives. In groundbreaking laboratory tests, pigs have demonstrated the art of tactical deception. When a subordinate pig discovers a hidden food source, it has been observed leading a more dominant bully pig in the opposite direction. The smart pig waits until the dominant one is distracted before doubling back to claim the prize. This level of manipulation shows a strategic mind capable of planning several steps ahead. If humans were to disappear tomorrow, the domestic pig would not simply wait for a meal that never comes. Instead, they would undergo one of the most rapid and dramatic transformations in the animal kingdom. In a matter of just a few months, escaped domestic pigs begin to revert to their furrow roost. Their hair grows thick and coarse. Their snout become torture for rooting, and their tusks, once trimmed by farmers, regrow into formidable weapons. With a high reproductive rate and a truly omnivorous diet, pigs would quickly become the dominant force in forest and grassland ecosystem. They would organize into pseudos, highly coordinated social unit led by wise matriarchs. Highly coordinated social units led by wise matriarchs. These groups would act like tactical units, clearing land, defending, defending territory, and solving the problem of a wildwood with a collective brain power that is second to none. With ours, the humble pig doesn't just survive, it conquers. As the field of the countryside gives way to the crumbling concrete of our great metropolis, a masked opportunist waits in the shadows to claim its inheritance. Meet meet the raccoon, meet the raccoon, the ultimate urban survivalist. While other animals While other animals might flee the decaying cities, the raccoon is uniquely equipped to thrive within them. What truly sets the raccoon apart from other mammalian contenders is its hands. While they lack the true opposable thumbs of primates, their front paws are among the most dexterous in the animal kingdom. A raccoon's paws have 4 to 5 times to mechanoreceptors, nerve endings that send nerve, nerve endings that send touch, than those of most other mammals. To a raccoon, seeing is touching. They can identify an object, its texture, and its weight without even looking at it. This physical dexterity is paired with a terrifying sharp This physical detectivity is paired with a terrifyingly sharp intellect. Raccoons are the locksmiths of the animal world. Raccoons are the locksmiths of the animal world. In scientific studies, they have demonstrated an uncanny ability to solve complex mechanical puzzles, often mastering motor step launch, bolt, and jaws in a matter of minutes. More impressively, they possess a remarkable long-term memory. Once a raccoon learns how to bypass a security measure or open a specific type of containers, they can retain that information for over 3 years without any practice. In a post-human world, raccoons would not just be scavengers. They would be engineers. Our abundant infrastructure, the door, the vents, and the complex machinery of our cities would not be a barrier to them, but a playground. They are one of the few species capable of navigating the vertical and horizontal labyrinths of human architectures. They are one of the few species capable of navigating the vertical and horizontal labyrinths of human architecture. As they adapt, we might see the evolution of even greater manual precision. Without the threat of human pest control, raccoons could form dense, cooperative societies within our skyscraper, using their tactile intelligence to repurpose our tool and manipulate the world in ways that no tools or claw ever could. They are the burglars of today, but they may well be the architects of tomorrow. While some contenders for the throne rely on hands and brute strength, our next candidates possess a type of intelligence that is almost eerily human, often referred to by biologists as feathered primates. Crows and ravens Crows and ravens represent the pinnacles of avian logic. In a world without us, these dark-winged engineers would not just survive; they would like they would likely to be they would likely be one the they would likely be the ones keeping the spirit of innovation alive. What makes a crow so smart? It's all about the density of their neurons. Despite having brains the size of a walnut, crows have a massive number of neurons packed into their nadopalliums, the part of the brain responsible for higher order thinking. This allows them to perform complex co- this allows them to perform complex cognitive tasks that even some monkeys struggle with. We have seen New Caledonian crows manufacture their own tool, blend, bending, bending wings, bending twins, bending twin into hooks, or using leaf as serrated saw to attack insect from hand to reach concept. Bending twigs into hooks or using leaves as serrated saw to attack insect to extract insects to extract insect to, ex- to extract insects from hand to reach crevices. This isn't just instinct, it is intentional. Creative energy Creative engineering. In one of the most famous experiments in animal behavior, crows were presented with the water and stone puzzle. With the st- Crows were presented with the water and stone puzzle to reach a floating piece of flood, to reach a floating piece of food in a tube, to reach a floating piece in f- to reach a floating to reach a floating to reach a floating piece of food in a tall tube. The birds realized they could the bird realized they could drop stones into the water to raise the level. They didn't just drop any stones. They chose they chose the ones that displayed the most water, demonstrating a grasp of volume and displacement that mirrors the logic of a young human child. Perhaps their greatest strength or Perhaps their greatest strength for ruling a post-human world is their social memory. Crowds can recognize individual Crowds can recognize individual human face, and more importantly, they share that information. If one crow is threatened by a specific person, the entire flock, and even future generations, will learn to identify and avoid that individual. This ability to pass down cultural knowledge is the foundation of any civilization. Without humans to compete with, crows could evolve from single tool users to complex builders. With their ability to communicate abstract concepts through a vast array of codes and gestures, they could organize the first array they could organize the first Arrow Society, a network of watchful eyes and logical minds, overseeing the new world from the ruins of the old. As we descend from the canopies and enter the vast, open savannas, we meet a giant horse. We meet a giant whose intelligence is measured not in seconds or minutes, but in decades. This is the elephant, a creature that carries an ancient memory of the earth in a brain that weighs over 5 kilograms. In a world without humans, these energy, these, ener- these engineers of the ecolo- these engineers of the ecosystem would be the custodian of the landscape, governed by a wisdom that is governed by a governed governed by a governed by a governed by a governed by a past governed by a governed by a wisdom that is passed down through generations. The elephant's brain is a marvel of biological engineering. While its size is impressive, it is the complexity of the hippocampus, the center of emotion and memory, that truly sets them apart. This area is far more developed in elephants than in this area is far more developed in elephant than in humans. This supermemory is their greatest tool for survival. A matriarch can remember the exact location of a waterhole she visited only once, 40 years ago. In a post-human world, where the climate may become unpredictable and our artificial and our art- and our artificial and our what and our artificial water system fail, this this generational knowledge would be the key to the survival of the entire species. Beyond their memory, elephants pose a secret communication network. They use infrasound, low-frequency rumbles that travel through the ground for miles. These sounds are too low for the human ear, but other elephants feel them through sensitive nerve ending in their feet. Without the mechanical noise of human cities and transport, this seismic, net, this seismic internet would expand. Elephants could Elephant could coordinate movement across entire continents, forming a network of nations that share information about weather, predator, and food source with a level of precision we are only just beginning to understand. Perhaps the most profound indicator of their potential to rule is their empathy. Elephants are the Elephants are one of the few species to recognize themselves in mirror and to mourn their dead with rituals that look hauntingly like our own. They care for the weak and protect the young with a collective ferocity. In a world without us, the elephant wouldn't just dominate through size, they would lead through a social structure built on mutual respect and shared history. As we leave these gentle giants, we look to a much smaller creature, one that has lived in our shadows for millennia and, and is now ready to step into the light. If the world were to fall into ruin tomorrow, the creator most likely to be found amidst the wreckage is one we have spent centuries trying to eradicate. The rat, while often dismissed as a mere pest, the rat is, in reality, one of the most resilient and socially complex architects on the planet. In a world without humans, the rat would not just survive, they would inherit in the they would ha- they would inherit the vast, sprawling sprawling labyrinths we leave behind. Sprawling labyrinth we leave behind. Intelligence is Intelligence in the modern world is defined by cooperation. In groundbreak, in groundbreaking behavior in groundbreaking behavioral studies. In groundbreaking behavioral studies, rats has demonstrated a level of prosocial behavior that rivals primates. When faced with a choice between a piece of chocolate and saving or joining a trap companion, rats will almost always choose to rescue their friend first. This capacity for empathy and mutual aid is the bedrock of a successful civilization. It means that in a post-human world, rats wouldn't just be fighting each other for crops. They would be working together to solve the problem of a new environment. What truly makes the rat a top content? What truly makes the rat What truly makes the rat a top contender is their evolutionary speed, because they reproduce so quickly and have short lifespan. They can adapt to environmental changes in just a few generations. Whether it's developing immunity to toxins or learning to navigate the collapsing infrastructure of our cities. Rats are the ultimate prototype. Rats are the ultimate rapid 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 prototype of evolution. Their omnivorous diets and ability to thrive in almost any climate, from the Arctic to the top, from the Arctic to the tropic, from the Arctic to the tropic, mean they could colonize every corner of the globe in the absence of human pest control. Imagine our subway system, sewer, and basement transformed into massive multi-level subterranean cities. Rats are natural architects, capable of building complex tunnel networks with, with dedicated areas for dedicated areas for nurseries, food storage, and waste. Without the weight of human traffic above them, these rats openly could expand into global empires. The ability to, the ability to organize, communicate, and innovate within these dark empires makes them and innovate within these dark empires makes them a formidable successor to our urban legacy. As we leave the dark tunnels of the surface, we deep dive into the blue abyss to find an electric to find an atellite that is truly alien to our own. To find our number 4, we must leave the world of mammals and birds behind and dive into the blue abyss. Here lives a creature that possesses the most alien intelligence on Earth, the octopus. Why we humans concentrate our processing power in a single central brain, the octopus has a decentralized mind. Two-thirds of its fi- two-thirds of its 500 million neurons. Two-thirds of its 500 million neurons are located not in its head, but in its arms. This means each lamb can literally think. This means each lamb can literally think, taste, and act for itself. In a world without humans, this multitasking marvel would be the undisputed master of the underwater laboratory. This multitasking marvel would be the undisputed master of the This multitasking marvel would be the undisputed master of the underwater laboratory. The ingenuity of the octopus is legendary among marine biologists. They are one of the few they are one of the most they are one of the few invertebrates known to use too. We have witnessed them carrying coconut shells across the sea floors to use as portable armor and using discarded jars as fortress in laboratory in laboratories in laboratory settings. They they don't just solve puzzle. They find way to cheat. They have been known to wait for researchers to leave the room before unscrewing tank lid or short circuiting lights by spraying water at them. This ability to manipulate their environment with eight dactyls. This ability to manipulate their environment with eight dactyls shocked arms give them a physical advantage that almost no other animal possessed. If the octopus is so smart, why haven't they built underwater city already? The answer lies in their biology. Most octopuses are solitary and live only a few short years, dying shortly after they reproduce. This prevents the cultural transmission of knowledge. They cannot teach their children what they have learned. However, in a post-human ocean, free from our pollution and overfishing, the pressure to survive might trigger a radical evolutionary shift. If a species of octopus evolved to live longer and, more importantly, to form social groups, they could begin to pass down technological secrets. With their incredible camouflage, and problem-solving minds, they could build a civilization of the deep that is entirely invisible to the world above. As we move from the solitary genius of the octopus, we meet a social power that already dominates the wave through the power of the pod. While the octopus possessed the dexterity of 1,000 hands, our number three candidate possessed something even more vital for building a global empire: the power of a sophisticated and unified society. The dolphin, long celebrated for their playfulness, science had revealed that these marine mammals possess brain structures so complex they challenge our very definition of intelligence. In an ocean reclaimed by nature, the dolphin would not just survive; they would be its undisputed sovereign. Sovereigns. The dolphin brain is a marvel of evolution. They possess a paralimbic lobe, a part of the brain dedicated to processing emotional and social information that is actually more developed than the one found in human brain. This suggests a level of emotional depth and social connection that we can only begin to imagine. Dolphins are deeply altruistic. They have been observed protecting other species from sharks and guiding lost ways back to safety. In a post-human world, this empathy would allow them to form cross-species alliances, creating a structured, cooperative maritime culture. The key to their sovereignty is their communication. Dolphins use signature whistle, which function exactly like human names. Each individual has a unique whistle that they use to identify themselves and call out to others. But their language goes deeper than names. Using a sophisticated system of echolocation and clicks, they can see through water and even share those mental images with others in their pod. Watch their coordination during a hunt. They don't just attack, they strategize. Using bubble netting or herding technique, they work as a single, tactical unit to trap schools of fish. This level of groupthink is a precu- This level of groupthink is a precursor to civilization. Without the constant noise of Without the constant noise of human shipping and the threat of individual and the threat of industrial and the threat and the threat and the threat of in and the threat and the threats of industrial fishing nets, dolphins would expand their dolphins dolphins would expand their acoustic network across entire oceans. They would be the Lord of the Deep, a global society governed by sound, memory, and a collective intelligence that has thrived for 30 million years. As we return to the land, we meet the one creator whose mind and hands are most like our own. As we reach the penultimate spot on our list, we find ourselves looking into a mirror. They share nearly 99 they share nearly 99% of our DNA. They possess our hands, and they are already living through their own and they are and they are already living through their own version of the Stone Age. These are the chimpanzees and their cousins, the the bonobos, the bonobos. In the vacuum left by humanity, in the vacuum left by humanity, they are the most direct heirs to our technological and social legacy. The intelligence of the great apes is not a matter of debate. It is a, it is a matter of record. They they possess a complex theory of mind, recognizing themselves and the intention of others. But while we, but while we have, but while we have been the dominant force, chimpanzees have been developing their own culture in our saddle. In the forests of West Africa, we have observed chimps sharpening sticks into spears to hunt smaller primates. We have seen them use a toolkit of multiple sticks to extract honey from deep hives. This isn't just instinct, it is learned innovation passed down from mother to child. The chimpanzee society is a master class in political maneuvering. They form alliances, state coups, and engage in organized warfare to expand their territory. This strategic thinking is a foundational requirement for building a nation. However, their cousins, the bonobos, offer a different path, living in matriarchal societies. Bonobos solve conflict through cooperation and social bonding rather than violence. Without the pressure of human habitat destruction or the threat of poaching. Without the pressure of human habitat destruction or the threats of poachers, these primates would undergo a rapid This primate would undergo a rapid cultural explosion. Imagine a world where chimpanzee tribes began to domesticate other animals or cultivate small crops. They already have the manual dexterity, the precious grip to manipulate our discarded tools. The only thing that has held them back is the overwhelming presence of Homo sapiens. Without us, the ape renaissance would begin. They would they wouldn't just replace us. They wouldn't just replace us. They would rein, they would reinvent the They would reinvent the very idea of what it means to be a civilization. Yet, as we look to the absolute top of our list, we find that true rulers of the world may not judge. We find that the true rulers of the world may not be individuals at all, but a global, unified force that has been preparing for this moment for millions of years. We have looked at the genius, the engineers, and the strategist, but the creator that is most likely to rule the world is a species that has already mastered global dominance long before humans even walk upright. At number one, the ant. To understand the ant is to understand a form of intelligence that is completely alien to our own. It is not the intelligence of the individual, but the collective intelligence of the colony, a superorganism, where, where the many act as one. While humans take pride in our inventions, ants have been ants has been practicing them for 60 million years. They are the world's first farmers, cultivating vast underground gardens of fungi for food. They are the world's first ranchers, domesticating other insects as like aphids and milking them for honeydew. They are engaged in complex, multi-front warfare and build massive, and, and build massive climate-controlled megacities that can house millions of residents. The true power of the ant lies in swarm intelligence. Through a sophisticated network of chemical signal called pheromones, a colony can solve complex mathematical a colony can solve complex a colony can solve complex mathematical problems, find the shortest path to resource, find the shortest path to resource, and respond to threats with absolute efficiency. There is no leader issuing orders. Instead, the mind is distributed. The mind is distributed among every member of the colony. In a world without humans, these ant empires would expand unchecked. Some super colonies already span thousands of miles across entire continents. Without the disruption of human pesticide and constructions, ants would solidify their control over the planet's biomass. They are the ultimate recyclers. They are the ultimate recyclers. The ultimate soldiers, and the ultimate architects. They don't need a written history of they don't need a written history or a spoken language because their knowledge is hard-coded into their collective behavior. While a chimpanzee or a dolphin might build a civilization based on individuals, the ants will build a civilization based on unity. They are the silent, microscopic, micros, micro, microscopic conqueror of the earth. Humanity reigns on earth has been a brilliant, brief flash in the grand timeline of life. We leave behind cities of steel and a legacy of immense creativity. But our departure is not the end of the story. It is merely the beginning of a new chapter. Intelligence is not a human invention. It is a universal force, a survival strategy that nature tries again and again. Whether the next global superpower speaks in the wisdom of a dolphin, think through the arms of an octopus, or marches with the collective with or marches or march or march with the collective will of an ant colony, the fire of continuous the fire the fire of continuous the fire of consciousness the fire of consciousness the fire of consciousness will continue to burn. The world will go on. It will grow greener, louder, and perhaps smarter in ways we cannot comprehend. Our time was beautiful, but the next era belongs to them. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us on this 60 minutes exploration of the future. If you enjoyed this journey, please leave a comment below telling us which successor you think will actually win the race. Don't forget to like, share. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more deep dive into the wonder of our planet. Until next time, keep watching, keep wondering, and keep looking at the world with new eyes.